My name is Wendy Koile, and I am the author of 4 books: Geneva-on-the-Lake, History of Ohio's First Resort, Legends and Lost Treasures of Northern Ohio, Disasters of the Lake Erie Islands, and then my current book, which was just published in September of 2021, so it's pretty much fresh off the press, is Lake Erie Murder and Mayhem. So Lake Erie is often the scene of the crime because I believe that the lake provided a perfect backdrop for crime. So if you think about the lake and its layout, there's 240 miles. It covers lots of states and 2 countries. So when a criminal needed to get away, he could get away really fast. There was lots of hiding places. There's lots of little coves along the way. Also, it was very dark at night. So the crimes that I write about happened a long time ago where there wasn't much electricity. So again, just an ideal setting to commit a perfect crime. My favorite story from the Murder and Mayhem book is chapter 1, and it is on the CMB, which was a luxury cruise ship, and a lady had went missing from the cruise ship. It was reported 2 weeks after she went missing. The crime, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, went unsolved, or they ruled it accidental, but as you're reading, as you dig in, you'll see that there are lots of little clues that maybe would lead you to think otherwise. And one of the reasons I love that story is because it was set on a cruise ship, and a lot of people don't know that on the Great Lakes, several luxury cruise liners existed, and this was one where people could stay overnight. And so the victim in the story, she did stay overnight, but she was never able to get off that ship when it docked.
So you've written books about lost treasure in the lake. You've written books about disasters in the lake. You've written books about murder in the lake. What fresh bedlam are you investigating now?
So currently in my Lake Erie research, I am compiling a list of some ladies that did some business out on the lake. So I am hoping to gather enough stories of some female criminals and maybe write in the series Wicked Women that my publisher has different series, and that is one of them. So I am looking for stories on ladies that maybe didn't behave while they were out or near the lake. So if anybody has some stories to share, I'd love to hear.
You were in a treasure hunting group, right?
Yes.
How does that work? How do you hunt for treasure?
So with the treasures, nowadays there's a lot of metal detecting that goes on, and I was one of the few females involved in that group. But yeah, a lot of times you have to get permission to go out onto people's land where a treasure is suspected to be. And then also the treasure groups, sometimes they would get permission to go to just a park or to a beach, and it wasn't just a treasure chest. Sometimes you would find coins and jewelry, and we were satisfied if we would find a nail on the ground.
How is researching history like treasure hunting?
I'm glad. So research and treasure hunting, they are very similar to me because to me, I will find a story and then I will just look for a clue within the story, and then that clue leads to the next clue, and then the next clue, and the next clue. And actually, it could go on and on forever probably, but it is a lot like a treasure hunt for me, and it's my favorite part of the whole process to uncover information and things that maybe are lost to time.
How do you research a book like Murder and Mayhem?
Sure. So I begin my research process usually by starting with newspaper databases like newspapers.com, newspaper archives, there's Genealogy Bank, and sometimes I'll just put in a topic. So maybe I would have put in murder on Lake Erie and see what pops up. And then I will just kind of go from there, like what seems to be very interesting, where there are a lot of clues, because sometimes I would find a story and there wouldn't be that much information, but other stories in there was a lot of investigation involved. And I'm like, well, then maybe I can get the court records or the police records and so on. And then also I do a lot with libraries. There's definitely hidden treasures in all libraries, and librarians will really help you out. And historical society is another great place. There was There's been a couple of libraries I would go in and I would ask about the research, and we would go into the crevices and these secret hideouts in the library, and I kind of love when it's just an old room and it's just me and all that material, and it's like everything's there for me. But it's like these secret little caverns sometimes that they'll take me to.
Are there any other local true crime books that you recommend?
Yes, I definitely recommend other local true crime books. My best writing friend, her name is Jane Terzillo, and she has written several books. Her new book is just coming out in June, but a lot about wicked women and bank heists, and she has one on Ohio's mysteries and disappearances, so she's a favorite.
Now, you've written about several different aspects of Lake Erie over the years. What's your relationship with the lake?
Sure. So my relationship and fascination with the lake started when I was a baby, because my family, every year we would pack up into our car. I'm about 2 hours south from Lake Erie, and go on a 1 week's vacation to Geneva-on-the-Lake, Ohio. And we would stay right there on the lakeside. That to me was better than Christmas, and every year I just waited and waited and waited to go. I remember as a kid, sometimes I would just lay in my bed at home and keep my eyes shut and think, maybe when I open my eyes I'll be at Lake Erie. So that started way back then, and then on to adulthood I continued to visit the lake. I like to look for beach class, and we visit and swim, and I bring my girls up now to the lake. So yeah, that continues on, and often when I'm starting a presentation I talk about that. When I'm standing at the lake shore, it just feels like there are so many stories there that the lake wants to be told. So that is why I continue to write about Lake Erie.
Sidebar, you're in Geneva-on-the-Lake for one evening. Where do you eat?
Oh, that's probably a no-brainer. I would have to eat at Eddie's Grill. That is a must. And then afterwards, I'm going to have to say 2 places, because we cross the street and hit Madsen's Donuts. It has to be done that way.
Mm-hmm.